Hi, welcome to Breaking In, where I talk about breaking into Wall Street from unconventional paths. Today, I'm going to discuss how you can do fundamental analysis without paying any subscriptions. Even when I was at Oppenheimer Funds in 2006, responsible for $6 billion worth of tech assets, 90% of the time I spent on websites that don't cost anything. First, I go to Yahoo Finance. Up here, they have this search bar, but I tend to find that is more of a general search. Sometimes it doesn't take me to the ticker symbol. I go down to this quote lookup down here. Let's find out what is happening with Meta or Facebook, because that tends to have quite a bit of controversy. It'll show you what the markets are doing and how Meta is doing. This is the summary page. That's not really going to give you a lot of information if you're looking at being a longer term investor from a fundamental perspective. I have a separate video that goes into technical analysis. Be sure to check it out. Over in the financials tab here, you can see the general income statement. If you hit this, you're going to have the balance sheet and the statement of cash flows. The TTM means trailing 12 months. For instance, if it's June, then maybe December of the last year isn't that relevant anymore. It will go the last 4 quarters from June going backwards. On Yahoo Finance, the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow are very handy to get a general idea of what you're looking for in terms of trends. Are they earning more each year? You start from here and go forward, 24 billion to 29 billion to 36 billion to 38. You can see 2019 to 2020, the operating cash flow flattened out. That's the cash flow that they're getting from operations. Investing cash flow, they're investing more, they're making an investment in the business. These are all summaries. It's super helpful that it's in there. You can toggle down and get more information. You may say, isn't this just a summary? Yes, it is. Then go onto Facebook's page or Google and search for the 10K. The 10K is an annual report, but it's a filing for the SEC. In the notes in the 10K, management discusses what they think about all of these different numbers. They discuss what's going on in capital lease. They discuss this investing cash flow went up 50% from 2019 to 2020. Why did that happen? You're going to find the answers in the 10K. It may seem too old fogey and traditional to go through the 10Ks, but it's amazing what you can find. I was looking at Chipotle Mexican Grill a couple of years ago, and in the 10K, they show how many restaurants they're going to be opening in the next year. You could see that it was at a much slower rate of restaurant openings than the year before. Even if the revenue per restaurant would be consistent, the top line revenue was going to slow. The stock had been on a tear, and I used that to bet that Chipotle's stock would decline, and it did. They already told me that they were going to do that right in the 10K. Management spends quite a bit of time on the wording and letting us know what they're thinking about these numbers. First, look at the trends, look at second derivatives. Are the revenue numbers increasing at an increasing rate? Are we seeing an acceleration here, a deceleration? You can see from the 40 to 55 was a nice acceleration of 15 billion. And then you had another 15 billion, but off a larger base, a little bit of deceleration, and another 15 billion, but again, off of a larger base. The rate of growth here is slowing, but given the size of the firm, that's still very strong revenue numbers. You look here at costs are going up faster than revenue on a percentage basis. That would be something to look into why that is. All of those answers will be in the 10K, where management discusses what they're spending and why they're spending it. That is what I do in terms of how to use Yahoo Finance and Googling SEC filings. Then I hop over to Seeking Alpha. I do not have a subscription. This is the main page. I'm going to type in at the top. On Yahoo Finance, I go to the middle right. On Seeking Alpha, it's right here. Type in your ticker symbol. Here is all the information I can get on Facebook. If you're already in Seeking Alpha, you can get your 10K right here. It hits SEC filings. There's your 8K, 10K. You can scroll through and look for a 10K. The 10Ks will be once a year. There it is, annual report. You can see the 10Ks in January. If you want the one before that, it would be the January of the previous year. The problem with the 10K And the 10Q is that information gives you some of what management's saying, but not what all the questions people are asking and how they're responding to them. It's a one-sided communication, which is still quite valuable. For the two-way conversation, come over to Transcripts and check out the earnings call transcript. Here, you can see under Transcripts, there's the presentation and the transcripts. Go over to Transcripts, you hit that. You do need a free account to be able to look at the transcripts, but it doesn't cost you anything. You can play the call, you can look at the slides, you can see the press release, and the 10Q is the quarterly report, which is much shorter than the 10K. Don't think of the 10Q as 1/4 of the 10K because they don't have to release nearly as much information. So 10K is worthwhile to check out. Here we are. It tells you who the call participants are. You can search this document to find out what they were saying about different things. You can look at what the CEO is saying, what the CFO is saying. Now we're going to go into questions. If we hit here, find, and then typed in question, it says after there'll be a question and answer. That'll take you to the question and answer section. Now you can find out from these top analysts, these top Wall Street analysts, what the concerns are. That allows you to go back and research those concerns, understand what the market's thinking, understand why the stock is trading like it is, what are the things that the company needs to do to prove itself to investors, as well as see how they answer. Sometimes you want to get the tone of their voice. You can also play the transcript, but if you're quickly researching a stock to see if you even want to look at it, skimming it is a great way to start going through the first time. There's lots you can do there with the transcript. Now let's go back to the main page here of Facebook on Seeking Alpha. I've got all these other choices. The SEC filings we already talked about, press releases, you can see what the company's saying, and then you can go over here to news. And you can do this also in Yahoo Finance. Check out what is getting released or talked about with Facebook. You can also do this on Google, and then you can go on Glassdoor and find out how Facebook's management team is being rated by their employees. There's lots of research that you can do online without paying any subscription.